Hey, so it is almost not morning, and I'm going to go out in the afternoon and with my aunts, and we're going to do some arts and crafts, and looking forward to that. I was supposed to go this morning, but I woke up feeling very weak and very frail, you could say. But for the good news is that even though I was feeling like that, I was able to get back together myself, and because of that, I am like now ready to kind of like to take over the world, basically. To take not take over the world, but like take on whatever comes my way. And yesterday was a good example of a day where it was just resting. I woke up, I was feeling also like really dizzy and really dizzy, and then I think I rested, and then this morning I didn't woke up. I didn't wake up feeling so good, but I was able to get back to like to a good mental state and a good physical state that I can go back to doing the things I have to do. And I think that's ultimately what is really important is and getting back together after because the thing is like you're going to end up being these waves I have a weakness, they're going to come regardless of whether I want them or not. So what I need is to kind of like recuperate myself. I had to get back to a certain to a mental and physical state where I can keep on going with my day, and that seems to have happened today. So really good all around, really happy about this development, and I hope this is the beginning of a new wave of like me being able to do that, me getting back to what's really important. Also, something else that I have to take into account is that I'm kind of like losing my perspective here. To be honest, like I'm no longer feeling as inspired and motivated to take over the world, to take on the challenges that come, and think about the future. So that's bad, but I'm still like taking the steps every day, because for my plan, like I'm still doing those things, and I think that is pretty much ultimately what matters. It's not like whether you're feeling motivated every day, but whether you're still taking the steps, you're still doing the things that need to be done. And thankfully, I can say that today was a good example. It's being a good example of that. Even though I'm not really thinking too much of the big picture because I stopped caring about it, and I lost like my lost my interest, I guess you could say. Yeah. So even though like that happened, I'm still doing the things, and that is pretty much what matters. Like you taking the steps every day to make sure that you have the future you want, even when you're no longer enthralled by that future, or interested or engaged in like keeping going. Yeah. So also like what I wanted to talk about today is the thing with the past that I was trying to talk about yesterday. Actually, not yesterday, the day before. And it is just that I don't know, like I think that I feel much lighter. I feel like things are less affecting me less, which is exactly kind of like what I wanted. I wanted this lightness of like the things no longer mattering to me. Of course, it is a long way, a long road, but it seemed like the beginning is kind of it's not falling apart. It is pretty stable. I'm able to like no longer care, and I don't really know exactly how to properly put into words how exactly I did it. It's just that it kind of happened. I think I might have reached a breaking point where I was just caring too much about those things, and those things were affecting me too much. And then sometimes it happens with me that like I go and I reach a certain peak, and then it plummets, and then by plummeting, it's pretty much what I needed, what I wanted from this situation. But yeah, but it's been pretty good to like look at certain situations and no longer be affected by them. That's exactly what I wanted. Of course, like I said, there's like a lot of like little things that are going to be a part of my journey until I get to a point where like I don't care about like any of the things from like 2016, 2017, 2018. But I am on the right path. It seems I am on the path of improvement, and I am being like less affected by these things. They have like less of a weight on me, and as a consequence, I think I am freer, to just to exist, because before it was like there were all these triggers, you know, and I was just existing, and then something could, you know, just come and trigger something, and it would, you know, like take me out of the moment, take me out of, you know, not only the moment, but whatever it is that I was doing, and that is very counterproductive and counterproductive, because I might be in the middle of something, and then suddenly I have to care about, you know, like these thoughts in my head, and you know how they impact me, and how they and how they kind of like prevent me from like looking at anywhere else, because it's like I'm just tunnel vision to like that point in time, so I cannot really look at any other point in the past. I can look at the present, I can look at the future. You know, it's just like I'm stuck there, and it is also like something else that might have to do with just like me kind of like engaging in some other activities, you know, like me, you know, trying to it's the thing that I mentioned that I was going to try to do, is kind of like try to dissociate, you know, the things, those memories from like where they come from, you know, try to replace them with other things. So for example, a way that you might be able to do that is by, let's say, like you're feeling that, so what you do, you watch a movie, but instead of trying to forget the memory, you embrace it, and you just let it sit with you as you're watching that movie, that TV show, that video, whatever it is, and then it feels like you're kind of like disarming that memory, or the series of memories. As I said also in the past, some of these situations, they are associated with, you know, music. For example, there is like at least like one song that, you know, I really like, and I associate with this period of my life. Unfortunately, it's associated with one memory, but that memory is kind of like, you know, festered with, you know, with other memories. Like one memory calls to another, that calls into another, and then before I realize, it is, you know, like all that I'm thinking of is all that I'm. It's consuming my brain, and you know, my thinking, and I don't know how to break free. But as I said, you know, like lately, I think, you know, I've been able to, because I think I was too tense and too anxious when I was thinking about some memories. You know, I was just very, you know, like I was very finicky about them. Like they came my way, and you know, like they got a very, you know, like very pronounced reaction, and then by kind of, you know, just letting the discomfort sit for a little while, as I am resignifying, you know, certain those beats, I'm able to no longer, you know, those things, as I said, I'm kind of disarming them, so they no longer have the weight that they had, and as a consequence, they no longer, you know, annoy me the way that they usually do. But yeah, it is also like this is the type of thing that works really well when you're doing well mentally. Like when things start to kind of like fall apart, it's when, you know, it's really, you know, the test of whether you're really doing well or not. But I do think that I don't know how exactly, I don't know exactly what changed in my demeanor, in my approach to things, but something changed and it worked out really well. You know, like these things, they're kind of like there, but they no longer have the weight that they do. Although, as I said, I have to wait for, you know, things to become tricky, you know, in my brain, for me to see whether like that is going to remain, or if it's just, you know, the consequence of, you know, like me being okay. Because when you're okay, when you're stable, like everything is kind of easier, you know, not kind of easier, it is much easier to achieve, you know, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And you know, like that's the history of, you know, my brain. And also, like as I mentioned, it feels like my brain is starting to regress a little bit, but I'm still in a really good place where I'm not, you know, like things are not falling apart just yet. They're, you know, like there are, you know, the threats of, you know, like not caring, and of things like losing meaning, and things no longer making any sense, but they're not really, they're not super real yet. They're just like the hint of that is the direction in which things are going, but I'm not there yet. That's not where we are yet. And honestly, like that is also about, it's all about resilience. So the thing is that even if you know, this kind of like happens, even if I start losing touch with reality. I have to make sure that I'm still doing the things, number one, because ultimately it's about like a daily effort. It's not about, you know, I mean, what's the thing that they say? Slow and steady wins the race. So, you know, I have to, you know, keep doing the things that I'm doing, even if they don't make any sense. Which is interesting because it does make you think, like, okay, if it doesn't make any sense, why am I doing these things? You know, is this because there's an expectation that at a certain point, like, things will make sense again? Because it feels like I don't want things to go back to making sense. I kind of like want to bask in those feelings of, you know, of lostness and confusion. But you know, like doing that is not. This has never really been the answer. But as I said, like, why would I keep going even when things don't make any sense? It's because they still make a little sense, right? There's still something about them that, you know, work. Something about that works, and I am, you know, working with it, even if I'm not super invested in the long run. But yeah, so basically, you know, it seems like my head is starting to regress. Although to be fair, like right now, it feels like yesterday was a day of repression, because I was, you know, feeling. But it's also like the thing about being physically sick, that really, you know, it fucks up with your head and fucks up with your mojo. So, you know, like while I am, you know, like I seem to have going back, you know, like there's still parts of me that are, you know, still steady. And you know, because the brain is very any brain is very complicated, it's very complex. So you know, like we don't always understand what the motivation is, what, you know, like the interest is. But you know, there is a part there. It's kind of like fractured in different parts, and some of those parts they want you to succeed. Some parts want you. It's not that the other parts don't want you to succeed. It's just that they want to just rest and to be at peace. And sometimes being at peace involves, you know, rejecting everything and just, you know, being kind of like involved in this, but like in this environment of you know, nothingness. Because you know, like if everything affects you, so if you had like nothing going on, then it just works out in the end. You know, if you have like, if you're just if you embrace nothingness and you're not really doing anything, like you're just stuck in time. You just you're stuck. But if you're doing something, that's kind of like, I guess, like the what I need to focus on is, okay, I'm gonna let myself embrace, you know, nothingness, and allow myself to just be involved by, you know, like that, the peace that comes from, you know, nothing, there being nothing. But at the same time, I have to be doing like the little things every day, and that is, you know, something that you know, like it works. And it has historically, I mean, historically I haven't really been able to do that, but right now it feels like, you know, it's medication I'm taking. Like even if I'm not at the peak I was at before, I am still, you know, like doing something, I'm doing something right. I'm still doing the things that I need to do on a daily basis for me to reach my success in the long run. Whatever success may be, because there's also that, because sometimes like it is there is like a very self-involved interest, you know, at stake, because you want nothing, but you know, you want a comfortable nothing, because knowing nothing, it just generates more discomfort. So you know, by focusing on the long run, focusing on the things that you do on a daily basis that really, you know, aid the long run, you are kind of like investing in yourself, investing in your well-being, in your comfort, so you can keep on being, you know, this nothing that, you know, that is not completely nothing. It is, you know, is a version of nothing that, you know, like involves the entirety of your being, but you know, like but you have like a kind of like a backdrop that is, you know, comfortable and that you can rest. Because as I said, if it's nothing, like then it's just bringing more discomfort, more you know, like more pain to your psyche. But yeah, but that's kind of like, you know, where I am at right now. My brain seems to be starting to dissociate from the present time, and I don't really know what to do to change that. I don't think historically there's ever been anything that I could do to change that. You know, it feels like every effort I make, it just makes things a little worse. And yeah, So, maybe you shouldn't really try. But as I said, as long as I am doing the things on a daily basis, I'm like working, investing in my future one way or another. I think I can continue to be like this. I don't have to, stop. I think is when things stop is when like I have to start, to pay attention to this. But like right now, things are just, they're working out still. Even if my brain is not, like most attuned to everything that is happening. I'm mostly attuned to, like my surroundings, and I'm trying to be in the present as much as possible. But I'm not really pressing for, like I'm not trying to avoid the past, because that's another way for things to be more complicated. When it comes to the memories that like they have been plaguing me for a long time, or more specifically recently. But yeah. So, anyways, that's it. Bye.